So in today's video, you're gonna learn how to create typing animation like this in Figma. It's actually really simple. So first, let's start with creating the cursor. I've created a squarish cursor over here because I just wanted to have a bit more character compared to the usual vertical line. So for the blinking effect of the cursor, we're going to create two different states of it. The first state is the solid one. Let's call it the default state. And then let's create a variant for it where we reduce the visibility to 0% and the cursor will alternate between these two states. So set the animation. We choose the after delay and set the duration to be 300 milliseconds and it should be instant change. And it switched to this and it should go back to the default state. Again, you just set after delay effect and for 300 milliseconds, so it will have a blinking effect when you put it into the canvas. Let's just rename this component and we can quickly create a frame to see how it looks like. Placing the component into the frame and you can see the final blinking effect. So next step, we're going to create the animation for the first line. So I will start typing in the character, start with H, and note over here that I would like to align the cursor with the baseline of the character. So I'm going to frame the cursor and just make sure that it has the same line height as the character. It's 116, that's all good. So I remove the fill. So here we have the first variant, the cursor itself. Let's create the first variant over here. Okay, and then as it types out, this becomes the second variant. And for now, I wouldn't leave any space in between. Okay, let's just make it like this. And this becomes the second variant. Gonna combine them together, and we just continue from here. And we're going to create a series of variants to reflect how the line is being typed out. So here you will continue, this is variant 3, and then you just keep adding variant from the latest one here, and it's fairly easy to extend the line and create that animation effect. Now, when there's a space in between, it's not so easy to just add it in here because you would notice that it doesn't automatically extend the text box. So here's where it requires a bit of manual work. We're just gonna manually make the space a bit longer to create that typing in between. So you just keep adding the variant and we finish creating the whole sentence. And because the cursor is supposed to continue from the second line, I will just hide a layer over here. Next, we are going to connect all these variants together by defining the animation. So you just head to the prototype tab and you drag the connecting lines where you can start defining the animation. Again, it's after delay. I'm gonna put the timing as 100 milliseconds. It's on the lower end compared to the usual after delay effect, but because this is a pretty long line and I want the typing to feel fast and crispy. So I'm going to fast forward through this animation setting, but basically you're joining all these components together using exactly the same interaction. Okay, cool. So after we have linked them all up, let's just do a very quick test to see how the typing looks like. Just gonna pull this component over and drop it into Canvas. Let's place it here for now and take a look. Okay, looks great. Next, it's really the same thing. We're just going to create the second line in exactly the same fashion. As a matter of fact, I'm just gonna copy the previous component and change the wording to reflect the second line. This way it keeps all the animation from the first one. Because I do want to have the cursor at the end of the sentence blinking a little bit, so I'm just gonna keep it at the end here. Okay, so how do we join the two lines together? In order to do that, let's just create a final variant for the first line, and we're gonna make it into a two-line layout in this particular component. Then we're gonna bring in the second component that represents the second line and combine it into this frame. Okay, so let's place it over here, and the line spacing is 116. So overall, it should be properly placed like this. Now, the only issue is that we need to make sure that the second line starts at the right place. In order to do that, let's copy the original two lines. Let's overlay it over here. For the ease of comparison, I'm just going to change it to a different color. So this helps us make sure that, the cursor of the second line is going to start at the right place. Okay, I think it looks good here. So I finished setting these two lines. And check that the component is not clipping content, so the second line should display successfully. Now we can take a look at how it looks like in the prototype again. Let's go to the demo. You can see that it types out the two lines in a very smooth fashion, and the cursor continues blinking after it types out the whole sentence as we expected. And I would like to do just a little bit more enhancement to this. I actually prefer for the cursor to blink a bit before it starts typing. And once it finishes, it should go away after a few blinks as well. So let's come back to the list of variants. I will increase the after delay duration to 1000 milliseconds for the cursor. That will give it a bit more time to animate in the beginning. As for the ending part, I need to create another component over here towards the end where I hide the cursor. I will also link it up and give it about 1.2 seconds to finish. Now it's time to look at the finished product. So in the demo, it starts blinking a bit before it starts typing out the whole sentence, and then it ends. Perfect, exactly what we want. Thank you for watching, and if you're interested in learning how to use GenAI tools to speed up the UX work, I created a video to recommend some of the best tools as well. Hopefully it will appear over here, and see you next time.